to BSI, the podcast with Benny Philhauer, Dowsy and Arco Para. Enjoy!
To some extent.
Benny's quite the puppeteer in many parts of his life.
He sucked and hated soccer, but became better than me in like one summer.
Thank you. Someone agrees with me. That's what I said about Ike when he signed with Kansas City. Welcome to BSI the podcast, season 2, episode 10. I can't believe I couldn't get Ike to say anything.
I'm not taking the bait. I'm just not going to do it anymore.
I think it is 10, but I honestly forgot. It might be 11.
I'm kind of with you on that. I actually have no idea every time we do this.
I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait.
We big news, dude. We hit the GoFundMe, and really I should say you guys out there, you guys hit it, and it was I'm surprised that we hit it so quickly, especially once we had Landon's jersey up there as a prize, and you guys did it, and we're really proud of that. And thank you so much for everything that you guys put into it and all the donations that you gave. It means a lot to us and to, of course, the people that are going to receive that. So thank you.
Do we know
so
the
much.
Total number of people that donated? I think it was like 170.
I think it was 175.
Yeah. So thank you to
or
those,
maybe
to those
175
people.
donations, maybe like 160 people, because some people made multiple donations.
Okay, yeah.
But we ended up raising $10,568, I believe it was. So we went over the 10,000, which was fantastic. And yeah, we were really happy to do that and have everybody, pitch in what they could. I think it was special for us to see that happen. So thank you so much. In other news, we are going to start our own website. Actually, we have started our own website. It's already out there. And the website is, Nino, actually correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just www.bsithepodcast.com, I believe. Nino will tell me if that's wrong, but I believe it's just www.bsithepodcast.com. And on there, you can find now our videos. We're going to continue uploading all the videos from each of our episodes. So, the Will Ferrell one is up there now because I know people have been clamoring about that one. So all the videos will eventually be up there, the ones that we still have from season 1, which are the majority of them, but we'll put them all up there eventually. But some of them are already on there, so you guys can go check that out. We're also going to start a Patreon account for people that want exclusive content. We're going to start doing some extra stuff. We're going to continue with our podcast, obviously, every week, but we're going to do some extra things, whatever you guys ask for. So I know people were talking about it on Twitter, what they want us to talk about. We'll probably do an extra episode and talk about, certain thoughts that people have, whether it be the national team, MLS, whatever it may be, and we'll start doing some exclusive content there. So check that out as well. And then we'll have our merchandise up there. So you can check out all the merchandise that you can get. Nino's, our producer, creates all this stuff with his graphic designing, and he's very good at it. And so that's pretty cool to be able to check out all on the website. Again, www.bsithepodcast.com or www.bsithepodcast.com. And I think that's all I have to say. Anybody else want to add anything?
No, just thank you for the everyone out there who went and donated to our GoFundMe. It's a beautiful thing when everyone can come together for a great cause. So we really appreciate it, and we said beat COVID together, and that's what we're doing. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to our guest. We're getting Austin Scott DeLuce onto the show today, former Demon Deacon, which we still don't know what the hell that means, but went to Wake Forest with Ike, so he'll have some good stories to share. And some time in MLS and some time in USL and NASL. So let's get him on the show. Welcome, Austin, quote unquote Scott DeLuce. I was not sure whether to call you Scott or Austin, but I'll go by your real name, Austin DeLuce, to the show, man. Thanks for coming.
Hey, I appreciate you guys really slumming it this week and having on a washed up second division superstar like me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's our pleasure, man. We go to all sorts of lives, we go to Hollywood, down to USL, a little bit MLS. So we're a podcast of the people. It doesn't matter, what you're doing. Yeah, if you got stories, we're here for them.
Exactly. If you've got a story to be told, we'll bring you on. And before we get going, we need to know, share to the people why we call you Scotty.
Bro, okay. Listen. This is a nickname that has gotten blown so far out of proportion. It's so 2012 preseason. I went on trial to the New England Revolution, of which Benjamin was a part of. And I literally get there and I'm walking into the locker room like for the first time, and one of the assistants at New England was Jay Miller, who had previously been my ODP coach, so he knew who I was.
I didn't even know this part of the story. He knew you?
Yes, bro. I told you. The guy, Jay was getting on in years. I don't know. But so I walk in and he sees me and he like starts smiling and he just yells out, "Scott Deleuze," and then like immediately he realized that he had called me the wrong name, and so he said, "Yes."
No, that is not true. That's not factual information. He called you Scott for the whole week, dude.
Yeah, because he thought it was funny. He knew my name.
No, I don't. I thought we all thought it was funny, and no one wanted to correct him. So let him keep calling you Scott for a week.
He was my regional team coach, dude.
So, but if he messed up once, if you don't correct him, then he's gonna keep calling you Scott.
I corrected him, dude. It was you. It was Reese. Dude, Reese is the one he's the one who made it stick, because he was calling me Scott like during the games that week.
Look, I will tell you, I'm not even clowning right now. I truly remember him calling you Scott the entire week, and I did. If it was a joke, I didn't know it was a joke. I thought like he was dead serious, and that's why it was so funny to me.
Benny, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're misremembering.
Well, I'll say this: it's not a good start to a trial if coaches don't even know your name.
Yeah. Hey, spoiler alert: I didn't make it.
I can't tell you how many times that's happened with teams where coaches don't know the childless names.
That's what's crazy is how often that actually happens. Is a travesty. Seriously,
dude, the best part about that story is that you were there for a week, you didn't make it, but through it all, the nickname survived, and we still call you Scott. So in a way, you did make it.
It's unbelievable. Reese is the one that still gets me. Like, I don't know. I've talked to that guy maybe like I haven't seen him in years, and every like few months I'll get a Twitter notification. It's like Matt Reese, and it just says Scott.
That's what he wrote on my tweet the other day. He just wrote Scott.
Unbelievable.
Love it. All right, so now everybody knows why we call you Scott Deleuze. Anyways, let's get to the show. So we'll start you off with some quick hitters. I know you're aware of how the show goes. Ike's probably going to take charge at some point here during the interview process since he knows you the best.
That makes me nervous.
And then well, you shouldn't be nervous too nervous for the interview. But then the plead the fifths. The plead the fifths, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little nervous for. So this could end up being the last podcast. We say this often, but this might actually be the last one.
We agreed for him to come on. I cannot go college stories and back. So I have to.
That goes both ways.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a couple, but like they're like they're PG.
Can I say one thing to your listeners before we dive into this?
Yeah.
I want to say you're welcome to all of your listeners, because the first time Ike asked me to come on and I said no, you guys ended up having Grella. So you're welcome for that. And then the second time I was supposed to come on, I got bumped for Will Ferrell. So I think I'm the key to your success so far.
And Alan Gordon, I think we've done it 3 times.
No, Gordon, I don't want credit for Alan Gordon. I can't take credit for that one.
All right, let's start with the quick hitters. Favorite quarantine activity. So let's try it. I'm gonna start off slow, so because everybody wants to get to know you. So here are the options that I'm giving you: binge watch Netflix, or I guess any other TV show. Watch old sports games that keep being rebroadcasted on every single sports channel. Drink your sorrows away. Or Zoom with every person you've ever known.
Man, I've done I've dabbled in all of those for sure. I think number one on my list is applying for jobs. The job market, I don't know if you guys knew this, it's hot right now.
It's booming.
Is it?
I try to get in at least one application a day. You know, you play in the numbers game. No, yeah, dude. Netflix is probably the top of the list. That one, I'm burning through stuff. So zooming's fun too, though. I've been zooming a lot with some of our wake bros.
Yeah. Like you've been in part of those or no?
No, but there's apparently I haven't gotten the invite there. But,
Oh, please, dude. No. Don't start this.
No, I haven't gotten the invite. But let's be clear here. They're the guys who are coming out of the woodworks trying to just crush you on this podcast episode.
Yeah.
And I said, no. Deleuze and I got this thing where we agreed to be nice to each other. But
I was trying to make it sound like we don't invite him. He's too good for us. He's been too good for us for years. He only pops up for weddings.
Which at your wedding, another good story. The member of the clergy, rabbi, priest, called you the wrong name as well during your wedding.
Yeah, that is a theme. Wait. Yeah,
he called him Justin several times during his wedding.
It was one. He did it once.
It was more than once. It was more than once.
No. He said Justin during the ceremony, and my wife corrected him mid-ceremony.
This is starting to sound like the Jay Miller story all over again.
Yeah.
Scott, Justin, you get called the same name 10 times, and to you it's only one time. Really, to everybody else, it was several times.
Whatever, dude.
All right. So Netflix was your answer. What's your number? What have you binge watched on Netflix right now?
Dude, I've been through everything. You name it, we've watched it. We just started a new one tonight, actually, called Win the Wilderness. Highly recommend.
Okay.
What's it about?
It's a reality show. 6 British couples are competing to win a log cabin in Alaska.
You lost me.
They have to prove they can survive in the wild.
You lost me at reality show. I can't stand that shit. Have you seen Waco?
It's real. Reality shows are real.
Waco,
it takes place in Derby.
Riggins? Of course.
Tim Riggins. That's right. All right. Let's move on. Next question. I'm going to get you to rank some of the coaches that you've had. Feel comfortable doing that?
Yes.
Here's some of the coaches that you've had. We'll start with MLS. Hans Baca, Ben Olsen, and I'm going to sneak in Jay Heaps. And then you've had Dave Saracen, Colin Clark, Adrian Heath, and any other that you'd like to include in there. So I got those 6 in there. Okay. You can rank them for us, 1 through 6.
All right, I'm gonna put old Heapsy is gonna go last because he wasn't actually my coach, so I feel comfortable doing that.
And he still doesn't know your name, right?
I think he remembers now.
Wait, what was the story you told me about Jay Heaps? Like, last time you talked to him.
So he's the GM or GM of Birmingham now, Birmingham Legion.
Right.
So obviously we played them last year. And so when they came here and played at our place, I was actually injured. So we sat together during the game and just watched the game and shot the shit a little bit. But when we first saw each other, he was like, "Oh man, you've been here for a while, right? How long have you been here?" And I was like, "Oh Jay, it's funny. I've been here since literally the day after you cut me in 2012. Been here ever since."
Oh man! So you got to thank him for the wonderful time you had in North Carolina.
Yeah, I did. I said it worked out all right. It was fine.
All right. So Jay Heaps at number 6 by default.
Yeah, by default. Who else was there? So I'm gonna go. Colin Clark 5. Let's see. I'm gonna go. Benny 4. I'm gonna go Adrian 3. Oh wait, no, I skipped Hans. Oh, dude, Hans. Hans is in between Jay and Colin.
Hans is terrible.
So really, Hans
is
last.
The worst.
Is what you're
so
saying.
He's last, yeah. Right? so Jay Heaps, then Hans, then
Jay,
Ben.
Hans, Benny, Adrian.
Wait, what happened to Colin? He was behind Adrian.
Yeah, he's down there.
He's behind Adrian.
Yeah.
So then Adrian, and then you only got Dave.
Let's see. And then, dude, Dave is the best. And then Jay Vidovich, of course. 1A is Jay Vidovich. 1B is Dave Saracen.
Got it. All right. I like it. Good. Some good answers. All right. Last question for you. I'm going to ask. So we usually ask, I know you play with, Thierry Henry. You play with Rafa Marquez. We'll get to some of those stories later. But I'm going to ask you about the kind of, not the DPs, but some of the really good players, but kind of American guys that you played with, and which one do you think probably should have had more an opportunity maybe with the national team? So Juan Agudelo that you played with, Tim Ream, and I'm going to sneak in Dax that you played with for like a week?
Man, that's tough. I mean, Tim's getting his caps, like he's in
Right.
there. So it can't be him. Man, Juan was like a 17-year-old rookie when I was a rookie coming out of college. We were like roommates on the road. This guy was doing like his high school history homework in the hotels, like on the road for away games. But yeah, I think Juan's probably the right answer. He was always like a guy that just he has all the tools. For whatever reason, it just didn't ever seem to translate. I mean, he still has he probably has a good amount of caps. But yeah, it always felt like it could have been a little bit more. But
Yeah.
And then Dax is Dax. Like he's MLS Iron Man All-Star or whatever. He's just unfortunate that he's probably in like one of the deepest spots on the national team for the last 10, 15 years.
That's true. All right. Well, those are all for the quick hitters. We actually made it somewhat quick today. And we can get in a little bit to the interview portion. And where I'd like to start is Wake Forest. So, Ike, go ahead and ask him a question that I want to hear the answer to, please.
Wait, I'd like to real quick. So pre-Wake Forest,
Yes,
you
dude.
grew up in San Diego.
Yes.
Ike was saying you played a youth tournament with me, and I have zero recollection. And yeah, I don't remember anything really from that time.
Well, nobody remembers me, so it's fine.
Okay.
But no, so it's actually
You went by a different name back then.
This isn't your fault because I actually don't think you played in the tournament.
Okay.
But you played for Arsenal, right?
No.
No?
No.
Like Tony Beltran and like Euromov Sisian.
So those guys were like my good friends. I knew them with PJ Brown as the Arsenal guy, but I never played with them. I don't think, right?
For some reason, I thought that that they had said that you were on the team, but you were like injured or something. And that's why you weren't playing. But maybe I'm just completely misremembering.
Maybe you know what I was. I think I was planning on playing as a guest player, like similar to what you were probably gonna do. And I had just got hurt from like ESP camp or something like that.
Okay.
Was this how old were you at the time?
Yeah, this was ESP. Like it was like right in there, like 2002.
Yeah, that's what happened.
But it was actually funny. So like you said, I'm from San Diego. So when I was younger, we would try to go visit. My whole extended family still lives there. So when I was younger, we would try to go out like once or twice a year. And it just so happened that this year, Surf Cup fell on like when we were going to be there. So I was like, oh, maybe I can like jump on a team and play in Surf Cup or whatever. So I ended up getting on this Arsenal team. It was like sick team, like Tony, like I said, Beltran, Euromov Sisian.
Some MLS
it was
guys,
like freaking 35-year-old man playing with like 16-year-old kids.
With his like Ukrainian mafia guys next to him. Yeah,
dude, he was crazy. So
not Ukrainian, sorry, Armenian, right? I think Armenian.
Armenian, yeah.
So I end up getting on this team or whatever. We're playing Surf Cup and play the first couple group games. And I was like, obviously I was a guest player. I don't know anyone. So I'm like coming off the bench and ended up playing really well in the first two group games. And so in the third group game, PJ actually is like, yo, we're going to start you today. I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm a guest player. This is probably going to piss some people off, but okay, cool. And so told like my whole family to come, like grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, like surrounding the field at Surf Cup. And like 15 minutes into the game, I got red carded. Incredible.
The guest player that gets red carded, everyone probably hated
let
you.
the family and the whole team down.
Never talked to another person on that team again since that day. Like walked off the field and just never saw anyone
Especially
again.
when you're younger, people hold grudges so hard that.
You saw Tony Beltran 15 years later, and he said, "Get out of my face."
Yeah, he's a pretty nice guy, but I think yeah, it was funny, man. It was like I remember like it was yesterday. I was standing in a wall next to a guy, and he was like stomping on my foot. So I gave him a little chicken wing, like chest pop, and he just went down screaming bloody murder, and that was it.
Yeah, it's happened to me before.
Brutal.
So yeah, back to our
All
time.
right, get back into Wake.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a good time. A lot of people don't know this about Austin is that his dad was the women's coach at the same time, and still is the women's coach at Wake Forest when we were all there together. And so trying to balance, college social life, academics, the soccer, at times was tough for everybody, and let alone this guy who had the pressure of his dad next door to him. Man, you know what? I would like to hear in your words, especially that 2007 team who won the national championship, just kind of, what it was like being in college, the amount of talent that we had that went on to the next level, and kind of how we went to the next level, considering that we were really a bunch of idiots off the field.
Definitely a lot of idiots. Dude, it was crazy. Like it just kind of seemed like, well, I mean, especially for me, like growing up in Winston-Salem, like on Wake's campus, like Wake men's soccer was like, I grew up watching those guys. It was like that. I idolized them from when I was 9 years old. So when I was coming into high school, like I was obviously like a pretty good player, but I didn't really get recruited to a lot of like, big time schools or whatever. Like I went on visits to like, Davidson, like UNCG. And so like Wake, well, obviously I could go to Wake tuition free because my dad worked there. So it was kind of a no brainer to do that. And, didn't have a ton of like expectations going in. I was just kind of like, oh, this is cool. Like I just get to be a part of this. And, man, like that, for whatever reason, the stars just like aligned for those 4 years. And yeah, we had a pretty ridiculous run.
4 Final Fours, right? Your 4 years?
Four straight Final Fours.
I was at one of those Final Fours in the blizzard of St. Louis in 2006, I think it was.
Yeah, dude. The food poisoning Final Four.
Did you guys have food poisoning?
Yeah, dude. Like after the game, the sandwiches that they had out for the teams, like half the team got like violently ill.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy.
Even worse, it's a joke that the NCAA made us play back-to-back games for the national championship
Yeah, it was like
on Saturday, Sunday in less than 24 hours in minus whatever degrees.
Of course, Santa Barbara took it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 4 straight Final Fours and a lot of pros, a lot of like really, really special players.
What other guys came from those 4 years of that team?
So me and Ike's draft class was me, Ike, Corbin Bone, and Zach Shalowski. And then the year before us was like Sam Cronin, Marcus Tracy, Mike LaHood.
Pat Phelan. You probably played with him in New England as well.
Yeah, I played against Pat Phelan in
Connecticut
in club soccer.
Yeah,
I played in Connecticut. I mean, Zach, I play with in New England. But yeah, that's a good group.
Cody Arnott,
Marcus Tracy, I played against in Denmark.
Yeah. Marcus is a big like what could have been. He just like couldn't shake injuries, but man, in college, this guy was next level.
Yeah,
Benny, I still think had you stayed your junior year and not left after the U20s, that UCLA team would have maybe
not
been
me,
the
but
best.
everybody, right? Like,
no.
Stop.
Listen, guys.
Stop.
Hey, I'll
Benny,
tell you that. I'll tell you this
list
about
off the guys right now.
If we go back to college,
all of them
though,
had good careers.
But Sal, before you go to that, if we go back to college, then I could tell you that my freshman year, which wasn't even a team that I played on very much because the team was that good, I think is a better team than any college team I've ever seen. Ever.
Okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
We're done.
We got to go to we got to go to the stats on this one because Ike,
let me ask you this: what was the best out of the 4 years that you were there? What year was the best? What team?
08
for
sure. Yeah.
And how many games did you guys lose in the regular season?
0.
So you didn't lose a game ever.
We lost in the Final Four.
Oh, you lost in the Final Four. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't win.
We lost one. So we lost one game as well before we lost in the quarters to Indiana, which is like one of the craziest games I've ever seen. But okay,
we
fair
scored.
enough.
I wouldn't even say we had a good team record. I would just say talent wise, Patrick Ianni, MLS career, Marvell Wynn, MLS career, Jonathan Bornstein, Jordan Harvey,
Chad Barrett.
Yeah, but
Benny, Chad Barrett, you could just keep going. Kamani Hill, all guys that played pro at the next level.
Yeah, but
you can name 10.
They had a good group
guys
as well that they listed.
Yeah, I know.
We scored
anyways, we could have this
81 or
discussion
82 goals that year.
Yeah.
What's that?
We scored 81 or 82 goals that year. I can't remember what
in 20 something games.
In 20 games.
Yeah, but the ACC is a cupcake league.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh god. Anyway, back to the Wake stories. So this is
I want to know if because Ike alluded to your dad being the women's coach, and I want to know if he
He
helped you along the way.
Yeah.
Or
so when you got in
hindered you?
trouble, yeah, that's true. When you got in trouble, how did that go down? Because
Yeah,
there's
it was
no
bad.
way. Yeah, he was happy with some of the things that you were doing.
It was bad, yeah. So like, I mean, obviously it was really cool having him there. Like, I went to boarding school for my last 2 years of high school in Austin, Texas. So like, I had my time away from home. So I really enjoyed like being like going to college at home, like being close to my parents and stuff. But the flip side of that was if I like fucked up, that then my dad knew about it before like I knew about it. He like it was yeah. So it happened a couple times where it was like yeah, first semester freshman year was a dark time in my life.
Only? Dude, okay, I'm going to tell one story. This is going to be an okay story. The time that you went raging, you lived off campus, you came back onto campus for whatever reason, and you went raging through the dorm rooms
Buddy,
and
okay.
just like went crazy, right? Like got in
Are
trouble,
we-
whatever. Thought you were safe. This is the spring season. We're on the track and we're like doing fitness runs. Coach brings us into the huddle and he starts reading off this paragraph of this incident that happened. In my head, I'm thinking, what is he talking about? And he
I'm
keeps
so
going
bummed.
further.
I'm so bummed right now that you're telling this story.
He just keeps going further and further, and I'm like, oh my god, that's someone on our team did this. Okay, who
I was doing
it?
the same thing. I didn't know it was me.
That's
That's the worst part of the story. It had happened like 3 weeks earlier, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I was standing in the back of the huddle like, who did this, man? We're gonna have to run. And he
And it
gets
was-
to the end and he pauses and he's like, Austin Deleuze. And I was like, oh shit.
We had to do extra fitness.
Yeah.
Deleuze is just standing there watching us. Everyone's running, going, "Fuck you, Deleuze! Like we hate you, Deleuze."
Well, he did one of those moves where he made him watch everybody else do fitness.
That's a
No,
great
I was
move,
hurt.
by the
I
way.
was-
That
I
is
was
a
hurt.
great move.
It was worse. I was hurt, so I couldn't do the running.
yeah,
I was
that's
just kinda,
right.
like, standing
That's
there,
right.
like, oh, sorry. Yeah, that one was bad. The first time and this wasn't just me. This was like half the team got in trouble. Like the cops busted a party up, and like everyone got drinking tickets. But the worst part was I had a recruit, and he got a drinking ticket too at this party. I had to call Coach Jay at like 3 a.m. and break the news to him that a recruit had been cited by the Winston-Salem police.
This was
So yeah, it was great having my dad around for support and just he's a cool guy. I like hanging out with him. But on the flip side, it made for some hairy encounters a few times.
Yeah, but
For
he's
sure.
still there, so
He's still there.
the
23
coach.
years, dude.
He's done
23
well
years.
then. Yeah, well, you don't have kids, do you?
Nah, I got one on the way.
You got
Oh,
one on
you
the
do?
way.
Yeah,
And then
Congrats,
this
and I'm
is too?
sorry.
Congratulations.
yeah, dude. Due at the end of August. So yeah, man.
Congratulations. I really hope that quarantine is over by the time you have your kid, because let me tell you,
It's
I got
great, dude.
me and Sal both have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And during these quarantine times, oh my goodness.
You guys need to get Grella back on for a quarantine episode because
Yeah, I'll tell you.
he
You're
hated
kind
his
of right
kids.
about that.
He hated his kids last time, and we weren't even in quarantine.
You're right about that. We should
Hey.
talk to Mike.
Kids are psychological terrorists. That's what they are.
Yeah, man. Well,
They just
yeah,
grind you.
It's middle of a pandemic. I got a kid on the way, unemployed. Let's go. Just the hits keep coming.
Yeah. Bring it.
so.
Well, congratulations, though.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Congrats. So, hey, I vaguely remember you telling me this story when you got traded from Red Bull to DC. That you were at a bar with like Carl Robinson, and like the trade was like kind of going down, wasn't? And like Carl Robinson, you just texted Ben Olsen, was just like, just take Deleuze already, and then they got traded the next day or something like that.
So it wasn't Carl. It was Chris Albright.
That's who it was.
Yeah. So we were playing in LA. We were playing against Chivas, and like after the game, Chris and I went and like across the parking lot to some like hotel bar or whatever, and we're just like whatever shooting the shit. I'm trying to be cool because he's like it's Chris Albright. I'm like an idiot 22-year-old who's played like 4 games in MLS, so I'm trying to like drink whiskey with him, be cool or whatever. And so we just started shooting the shit about like I had like kind of asked to be traded because I wasn't playing Like I didn't play a single game my rookie year, and then my second year, I didn't play much until the Gold Cup rolled around and like half the team left for the Gold Cup. So finally, I got some games and I actually started playing pretty well. But anyways, we're in LA playing Chivas and go out with Chris that night. And the next morning I get up for breakfast, go to breakfast. I'm like a little bit hungover. I'm like on my way out of breakfast and Hans like pulls me to the side. It's like 10 a.m. He's like, you have been involved in a trade. You're on a plane to DC in 4 hours. I was like, okay, later. But yeah, and then I saw like Chris later that day, and I was like, yeah, it's crazy, dude. I got traded, whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I hit Benny up and just said, yeah, go ahead and trade for him. I was like, oh, that's how this works. What the fuck do I have an agent for?
Right. And then you just like swapped with Dax's apartment or something like that?
Yeah, so Dax had gotten traded to New York like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks before that, for D-Row. And so Dax and I were like in New York, we were going to move in together. Because like I was moving out of my apartment and Dax was looking for a place. We were like, let's just get a place together. And we were actually supposed to like get home from that trip and like go sign the lease. And yeah, I got traded to DC and I ended up moving into the apartment that Dax had moved out of in DC with Lyle Adams,
Just
our former Wake Forest teammate.
Yeah, just a wild, like, it's just so MLS.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most
That's
MLS
exactly
thing.
that's exactly how MLS trades work. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
It's
Ben
crazy,
Olsen
dude.
played with Chris Albright, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Chris play
That's
in
a
DC?
guy yeah, well they known each other forever. Like they
Okay.
they came
so then
up
they know
together.
each other. He just texts him, hey, how's this guy? Should I trade for him? Yeah, trade for him. All right, it's done. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
MLS.
who
That's how it
knows
used
how
to
it could have gone. I
That's
have no idea
probably
what
how
actually
it
happened.
still
but-
works, to be honest.
And then he just walks into his...
Like if Benny, if you ever become a coach, like, and I see this kid, I'm gonna be like, yo, Benny, get this guy. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
it
got
is. I
tra-
mean,
so
it is. Go ahead.
I got to DC on Sunday and went to training on Monday, and all I have is like the stuff that I took to Chivas. Like I have like 2 pairs of shorts and like a t-shirt. And so I have nothing. I'm there in DC that whole week, and then I played 90 against Everton on the following Saturday. It was the worst game I've ever played in my life. Like to this day, it was the worst.
Yeah, getting traded is tough during season. I got traded in preseason or whatever before the season, and that was tough. I can't imagine mid-season,
especially if it
and rolling
blindsides
into
you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you like, so
Yeah.
I got traded from
Yeah.
Colorado to Kansas City, but I mean, I knew that was happening
You orchestrated that. You were
mean,
the
yeah.
puppeteer. You were
Yeah,
Right.
he was.
to some extent.
Benny's
I mean,
quite the puppeteer in many parts of his life.
yeah, or so it's been told on this podcast a few times.
Yeah, dude.
Geppetto.
Getting traded sucks. I'm like I've always played better when I'm like comfortable and I know my teammates really well and I feel like everybody trusts me. So yeah, it just ended up I didn't play well in DC for the rest of that year.
For sure.
All right, well then let me. Ike, I'm going to ask a couple questions here because I know there's got to be some good stories from your time at New York Red Bulls because there were some characters on that team. So I know there was like Thierry Henry was on there, Rafa Marquez. We've heard stories from Rafa from like Dax and guys. I know you played with D-Row too. Did you play with D-Row or did you guys swap?
Dude.
You played with D-Row?
Yeah, it was a weird. So he got traded to New York from Toronto early in 2011.
Right.
He was in New York for like 2 or 3 months, and then we traded him to DC, and then I followed him to DC.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like later,
like a month later.
He was unbelievable. He won MVP that year. He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
And he was in New York for 3 months.
But yeah, like no time at all. Like he it just didn't like click that well, and whatever. They traded him for Dax, and then he went to DC and just absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, what I wanted to get to was give me I know you're dying to tell me a Rafa Marquez story because there's plenty of those. So either a Thierry one or how did you how was that time with those guys? Hans Baca as the coach, Thierry Henry running the team, Rafa Marquez coming in. Like that's
Dude.
How was that locker room like?
It was bizarre. Like in retrospect, it was very bizarre. Like at the time, I was just kind of like along for the ride. Like, oh, this is cool. Whatever, But now, when I look back, it's just like it was a very weird time. I think in like MLS history. Like, so you had like, I think Beckham sort of kicked this off. It's like you have this influx of like world class players, but like the infrastructure hadn't really caught up. So like you have like Rafa and Thierry practicing in this like rundown college. It's just like a weird dynamic. Like, I mean, Thierry handled
Montclair.
it. Yeah, Montclair. Did you train there, Sal, or did you guys have
No,
this?
but we had our training facility already. But I do remember traveling to Red Bulls from I think it was Portland, and us like training there because that was like
Is that the one where there's a track field around it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, with like the
Oh, okay. I've trained there maybe
concrete
one. I think
bleachers.
one time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
got to go
it's-
like walk down the stairs or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just this weird dynamic, and like Thierry handled it pretty well. Like he, he's definitely like a little bit of a psycho, but he was always like, to whatever he wanted to win. He was like competitive. He wanted to win. He was there to win. Rafa was. I don't know. It's hard to talk about somebody when you don't really know like what's going on with them, and I don't think I ever like had a conversation with him. But
Good teammate.
Yeah.
You play with him for a year and a half and you never talk to him.
He just didn't seem psyched to be there. He didn't seem psyched on the situation. So yeah, it was just a weird dynamic. It was like Hans came in and cleaned house. He brought on all his own guys. They fired Richie Williams and Dez, the goalkeeper coach. And then like the GM, this guy Eric Soler, who's like, it was also weird. It was a weird dynamic. He like sat on the bench during games, like next to Hans. Which I haven't seen a GM do that.
No.
I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah.
But,
I think some
In Germany they do it.
Yeah, I think they do it in Germany.
Okay.
I've seen
Well,
I've seen that in
so-
Germany before, so they probably got it from there.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean, I
all
know
Europeans.
Hans is Swedish.
Yes.
Mhm.
I know he's
He was like-
Is he Swedish?
Sweden.
I
Yeah,
can't remember.
yeah. He was like Sven Göran Eriksson's like right hand man or something. That's like what
Okay.
they said when they brought him in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Like just a lot of funny dynamics for like you have Thierry and Rafa, and then you have like me, who's like like college player from Winston Salem, is like whatever. It's just strange time in MLS. But
And Rafa did not
Rafa-
like you. You're leaving that out. He did not like you, and he broke your foot on purpose.
so he didn't break.
I'm
my
going to
foot.
say it was on
I don't-
purpose.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he didn't like me specifically, or if he just didn't like the fact that he was where he was. But
Yeah.
he put in. I think to this day, probably one of the worst tackles I've ever been on the receiving end of. In training, it was in training. He just murdered. He decapitated me. He murdered me. I was out for like a month and a half with like the word. I'm shocked that I didn't break anything, but it was just like an ankle sprain or whatever. But it was crazy. He like, I was like in the training room afterward, like laid back with my foot up with ice on it. And he just kind of comes in and gives me like a hey, sorry, like a little high five, and then just kind of walks away. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Thanks for ending my career almost.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thierry definitely had a few of those moments in him, but it was never like, I never felt like it was all the way malicious. It was just like the red mist kind of descended for a minute, and he went a little bit crazy, but like off the field, just like the best guy.
yeah,
Like
I've heard that.
He's just looked out for everybody. Like anytime he could like do something for you, he would do it. Like it was pretty cool to see. It was cool to be around.
Yeah. Ike, I can get into a little USL. Are you gonna?
Yeah, well, there's a few more things.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No, dude, the USL grind must be shared because
Bro.
you've seen. You know how
You've
MLS
seen the growth really
right.
of the league.
Right, they like to talk about
the
MLS
USL
1.0,
grind,
2.0.
you guys-
You've seen it all. Like I want
The
to know.
NASL grind is what you guys want to know about.
Okay, that's fair.
That's
That's,
a-
what.
That's a
yeah,
different grind.
I kind of call them the same thing, but yeah, I'm in NSL, and I still call them the Real Hawks. I don't call them NCFC. I refuse to do that.
Long live the Railhawks.
That's all I can do.
Yeah, dude,
So-
hit me. What do you want to know?
Tell me what the Real Hawk NSL era was like, because I've heard crazy stories. I mean, it has to be crazy because you're paying for your own bags to go through the airport, just things like that. That you bond over and you have fun over, and it leads to from one place to another. I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's NASL. First of all, put some respect on its name.
My bad. That's me. That's on me.
But yeah, dude, like so, when when I left you, Benny, in New England, I left Arizona and I came straight to Raleigh and came on
That was a
trial.
tragic loss for us, by the way.
Came on trial with the Carolina Railhawks, and I ended up signing a DP deal for $350 a month before taxes. And yeah, the first 2 years it was like good old fashioned beer league, like just nonsense. Like the entire team lived in the same apartment complex as like it's all college students, so it's just absolute mayhem every weekend. The pool is like it's like freaking Real World or whatever. So the first 2 years it was just shambles, and like we were pretty good, which was the weird thing. Like
and great facilities too. Like you guys,
yeah, oh yeah, we have the best. I mean that's the only reason I made it as long as I did is like we had the best facilities and probably better than some MLS at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it your own, or is it like you guys shared it with someone?
No, so it's owned by the town of Cary,
Okay.
but we're like the main tenants or whatever. So it's it's ours, and now they share it with the Courage.
Okay.
But yeah, like so those first 2 years, the NASL was just complete beer league joke stuff. But like I said, we were pretty good. We won. We made it to the quarterfinals of the Open Cup a couple times. We beat the Galaxy like 3 years in a row. We in 2013, we actually like won the league, but the way the NASL was set up was so stupid that we didn't even like make the championship. So it was like split up in between spring and fall seasons, and the winner of the spring season played the winner of the fall season in the championship at the end. We didn't win either season, but we had the most points overall. And so we didn't make the championship. It was like nobody like did the math while they were figuring this out. They're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just two winners play each other. It'll be fine." So they literally had to like make up a cup at the end of the season to give to us. And
you got the supporter
cup,
shield, bro.
Well, they didn't even call it. I don't even remember what they called it.
Supporter shield, and you couldn't participate in the playoffs.
The cumulative supporter shield championship trophy.
Yeah. So it was fun, dude. It was a weird grind. We had like you get to go to Puerto Rico, which is just like complete joke. Like you're there, you're staying at a casino, like on the beach. The game is like the last.
That sounds like fun, not a joke.
Dude.
But that's the thing. The soccer is soccer is not the first and foremost on your mind.
Too much fun.
So when did they switch over to USL?
North Carolina FC. So we switched over in 2017, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017 or 2018, maybe 2018. Whenever the NASL folded, that's when we went to US.
Okay. And you basically played there 2 years.
In the USL,
yeah, in the USL portion.
Well, so I went to Orlando in 2014 and played in the USL that year.
Okay.
But then came right back and played here. And the NASL was funny. Like there's some like crazy players in the NASL. Like Raul was in the NASL for a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
Marcos
Cosmos were always pretty good.
The Cosmos were great. And then like that, there was a team in Oklahoma City called Rayo OKC, who was like ostensibly owned by Rayo Vallecano, which like who knows how much that relationship actually matters. But they had like Giorgio Samaras, Boateng, like. It was crazy, dude.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know what these guys were thinking, but.
So let me ask you this. I'm sure there are a lot of reasons. Do you think that what do you think is one of the biggest reasons why USL guys don't get called up on a regular basis or signed to MLS teams? Is it just like a naivety with MLS and not believing in, what's, going on in the USL level? Is it, lack of scouting? What do you think is the big reason?
I think it's a little bit of all that. Like, I think MLS teams can be pretty short-sighted when it comes to scouting lower league talent. I think like the development of academies has made it even more difficult for guys outside of like MLS clubs to get called up, because like, so if you're an MLS club and you have like a 16-year-old kid who could be pretty good, and then you look at the USL and you're like, oh, this kid's 20 and he's pretty good. Like who, like, you got to weigh the out. Like who do you want to invest more in? Do you want to invest more in the 16-year-old kid who's already like under your umbrella, or do you want to go take a flyer on some kid you don't really know. Yeah,
I mean, I find it a little shot. Like, we have a guy on our team, a center back, Joe Greenspan, who won Defender of the Year. I think he dabbled in the MLS a little bit with Minnesota, Ike, and Colorado. But coming off like a Defender of the Year, I go, hey, did like any MLS teams contact you? And he's like, no, I didn't hear anything from anyone. And I just find that ridiculous. Like, after you win Defender of the Year for the entire league, you'd think, hey, somebody wants him, and if they don't see him as a starter, okay, like, second, third, fourth center back, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's
Like
a little strange
Aaron
that
Long
they
was
don't
that.
even
You know
get.
what I mean?
Yeah, Aaron Long was that.
Right,
I mean,
like,
but luckily he was on a team like the New York Red Bulls
Right.
who saw it firsthand and called him up. But I do think it should happen more, because when I see my team, and I played MLS for 9 years, took a break, now I'm playing USL. The speed of play and like certain things are not that far off. Like, I would say MLS is a difference of 6 or 7 like high quality players, and the rest are pretty like interchangeable. I mean, if you throw 4 or 5 USL guys with a Carlos Vela and like 6 other great players on LAFC, like, I don't think much changes.
yeah.
Does that make
Mark
sense?
Anthony Kaye is like a perfect example. Like he,
Yeah.
he killed it for Louisville. They gave him a shot, and obviously he's killing it now. But yeah, I think you're totally right. Like the top half of USL
Yeah.
rosters is probably capable of competing on MLS rosters. It's just about, like, I mean, you guys know this. Like, you just got to be in the right place at the right time. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I think one of the biggest reasons why, and this is a total guess, but MLS is still a growing league, right? So every team, not even is trying to, is forced to continue to keep improving, right? From year to year. So you see like the income of talent every single year, and the league is just going to continually improve and improve and improve. And so I think it's just very unlikely for them to look to improve at a lower league in their own country. And so, yeah, there are going to be like the off, it's like the opportunities that kind of arise, but they're going to be few and far between. So like Mark Anthony Kaye played for Louisville. I believe they won the whole thing right that year, and
yeah. I mean,
right.
they've won it twice. They've won it twice.
I think the last year he was there, they won it, and then LAFC is an expansion team, and they're looking to kind of. Mark was not, in my opinion, and I'm not saying I can read Bob's mind, but in my opinion, Mark was not supposed to, like, they didn't envision him becoming an all-star, by his second year. And so my guess is he was initially maybe a depth player to come in. He wasn't even a center midfielder, for Louisville. And so, I saw the change from him from the beginning of preseason until the beginning of the regular season, and it was like night and day. Some of the things that he improved on. Obviously, Bob has a big, is a big reason for that. But at the same time, Mark had those qualities, but he just needed to find them a little bit and find the confidence to be able to play. And so I have no doubt that there are players at the USL level and lower levels that have the talent and have the ability to play in MLS. I just think that it's very unlikely for teams to like have a really big, vision there, because they know that next year they have to have an even better team than they have this year. So it's not like they can kind
So
of
you're saying
pick
it's just less established than like the English Premier League, where if a guy kills the championship, like, they're getting a call to a Prem team,
correct.
no doubt.
Whereas here, it's like, okay, yeah, Joe Greenspan has played really well at USL. He's the best defender. And actually, I think defenders might be an easier transition.
Of course, yeah.
But like, imagine like a forward, leading goal scorer in a USL. And then you're like, maybe he's had a year in MLS before and he didn't do well or something like that. People are going to be like, should I really bring this, or am I going to go get, some DP from Spain, or from Mexico or from whatever? And like, because there's that necessity to kind of keep improving, I think it's hard for MLS teams to go and find
But
those
for me,
players.
the risk isn't very high either. I mean, it's not like you have to jump in and pay these guys big money to come. I mean, look at like Molino in Minnesota. Like, he started at Orlando City, right? And
Dude,
I think he's a player, dude.
in
He's a good player.
2014,
Oh yeah, Kevin Molino's
he's
a baller.
easily one of the most talented players I've ever played with.
Yeah,
In
and I mean, he
2014,
started
this
at
guy
Orlando, so
Yeah.
He had an absolute laugh.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any doubt that there's players that have that talent. I think there definitely is. I think it's hard. And it's only going to get harder until we've
until
reached
it's peaked,
what we what we want in MLS. Then I think it'll be easier, because then, yes, you still have like the academies and whatnot that people want to like maintain their own players. But hell, if they see someone in North Carolina or in San Diego Loyal or whatever, and there's a player that, maybe's whatever 20 years old and we see some possibility there, then yeah, I think you can throw that guy into the roster and see if you can kind of build him up. But I think right now it is. I think that's the reason why I'm not.
I mean, 8-10 years
it.
ago, where the MLS is, where the MLS was, sorry, is basically like a lot of these USL guys would be playing on MLS rosters.
Oh yeah, no
You
doubt.
know what I mean?
There's guys that were on my Red Bulls. I'm sure you guys can pick out players too, but
Yeah.
there are guys that were on my Red Bulls team that wouldn't make my like 2019 North
Right.
Carolina FC team.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's just grown. I mean, that's just soccer, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
I have one more question before your interrogation, but I don't know how many more you want to ask during the interview.
I just have one. So a lot of people.
Sorry, I have two more.
Okay.
Fire away, dude.
Yeah. No, this is good. A lot of people should know that Austin, he actually got under my skin my freshman year because he's so damn sarcastic, intelligent, and intelligent. And it would drive me insane because I couldn't he would just roast me and I couldn't come up with a response that he didn't have something better with. So anyways, this brilliant mind of his decided to start Playing for Pride initiative. So could you tell people, what it is, how you got started? And he's a great follower on Twitter, by the way. Probably top 5 follower right now on Twitter for me. So
that is, I'm right below you when you tweeted the Don.
No, the Don needed a break. I almost got fined like a couple times, so I had to back off a bit.
Yeah, I think there's a correlation between that second MLS Defender of the Year trophy and when you stop tweeting at the Don. Somebody should track those.
Yeah, that's fair. Still can't make a commissioner's pick all-star game though, but whatever.
So Playing for Pride started in 2017. There was a law that was passed here in North Carolina called HB2 or House Bill 2 that was essentially just anti-LGBTQ legislation. It's more complicated than that, but ultimately that's what it came down to. And that was something that just really rubbed me the wrong way, being from North Carolina and knowing it to be sort of a, very kind and inclusive place. Obviously, I'm not naive. I know that there's parts of North Carolina that are not that way, but it being my home, I felt sort of a responsibility to try to push back against that perception that we were, this state of hate or whatever people were saying in the media. And so decided to start this fundraiser called Playing for Pride, where players could sort of sign up and donate money based on their stats, where it's like $5 for a game played, $6 for a goal, whatever it was, just little stuff. And then ask supporters to match. It snowballed and grew really quickly. And we ended up raising over $60,000 over the last 3 years. And getting over 125 professional players from all around the world involved. It was super fun. I had a great time doing it.
Yeah. Are you still doing that?
Obviously right now with everything going on, it's kind of up in the air. I partnered with a really cool organization called Athlete Ally, where that's where all the money went for the last 2 years. And so I've kind of been in conversations with them to try to figure out a way that we can continue to do something in the same spirit, but yeah, like most things, it's up in the air right now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, but it's good that you will continue it post your career and into your.
I actually wanted to ask him that. So Austin, I know you retired. Congratulations, by the way. We both retired.
Yeah, huge mistake, but thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. You're 32, right?
I came back, man. I couldn't.
You're 32. Yeah, you can take the Sal route. But first you got to get a job selling houses, which I don't know if you want that.
I'm gonna go the Gordo route. Just start slinging mortgages and refis.
But anyways, you're 32, and I'm sure you could have kept playing. So why did you decide to retire?
It just felt like it was time. It was, it's USL is a little bit harder once you get in those early 30s. You got
a lot of athletic dudes, man. There are
a lot of very young
guys, man.
Some very young athletic dudes. And it just it felt like the next phase of my life was starting, and it was just something that didn't feel like I could put it off much longer. And I felt really good about kind of what I had accomplished here in North Carolina and with my career. if you told me that I would play 10 years professionally when I was, 13 or 14, I would have told you were fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's similar. That's similar to me. I almost got to the point where I felt like, and unfortunately now I like can't even, I can't even prove it to myself that I was right, making that decision because nobody can get a job right now. But I
yeah,
felt
I could have not retired and still essentially been retired, just cashing
right.
checks and.
But my
doing the
thought
same
process
thing.
was almost like I feel like I can do more, on the opposite side of the sidelines now, whether it be, learning how to coach or learning how to, build a team or be in the media side or whatever I actually decide to do, which I don't know what is going to happen yet. But I felt like that side was already going to be, I was going to be able to do that side better than I could playing at this age. And so it's a little bit similar to you. I could see that part of my career starting to build and become a more important part of my life, and maybe me have a better skill set for that than still continue to play. So very similar,
Yeah.
I think, in our thought processes.
Yeah, I was super. I mean, I'm sure you guys all feel this to some extent too. Like soccer's been our life, right? It's the only thing that we've known for so long, and I was just getting more and more excited about seeing what else there was outside of that. And
It's not that exciting.
that.
Dude, I had all these same thoughts you guys are talking about, and then I did what I did.
Yeah,
and,
but
now I'm
dude,
back.
Sal,
I completely understand though. It's a different scenario. Like I literally would have only came back for this scenario. So,
For
but
San
I have
Diego,
no
dude,
intention.
for the loyal.
I have no intention
San Diego Loyal.
of leaving soccer. I don't know if Austin, do you have an intention of maybe doing something completely different? I know you were doing color commentary, but is that like what you want to do, or do you want to do other things outside of soccer?
Yeah, so that was kind of the that was kind of my way to stay involved. Like I kind of knew I don't want to coach, at least right now, and so color commentary just kind of seemed like a great way to stay involved in the game without having to like fully invest myself in a role and be there on the day to day and on weekends. It's like that's kind of what I was trying to get away from when I retired was that the travel grind and all that stuff. It was like I was looking forward to having a weekend or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was planning on getting away from the game and just, like I said, kind of seeing what else is out there. But I don't know. If San Diego Loyal calls, who knows what happens.
Who knows?
Who's it? Ricardo? Isn't Ricardo your guys?
Yeah.
technical
So you were
director?
with them in New York, right?
Yeah. So he called
So
me
there you
like two. When you remember when that 1904 team was being
Oh
built?
yeah, that was 2000, probably 2017, mate. Right? Like the end of it,
Yeah.
maybe.
So he was involved with that, and he called me, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, we want to bring you home." And I was like, "Well, I haven't lived in San Diego since 1997, but
yeah, they had high hopes for that, and they were gonna go NASL, and then it was basically they were joining right when the league was folding, and so
my
it,
grandparents
all fell apart.
were pissed that I said no.
Yeah, they're still there actually. They play in like the NPSL or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys play at USD, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So both my parents went to
We
USD.
did. I don't at this point. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, my dad played at USD. He coached at USD. Like so. Yeah, my whole family was like.
Your dad coached at USD?
Yeah, so he played, and then he was an assistant for the men for a while, and then he started the women's program
under Seamus McFadden.
Oh yeah, big Seamus.
Yeah. What year?
Hey, you guys can get on a call after the podcast ends and talk if you guys want to do that.
Nino will also cut that clip out of there. We don't need to know Sal and fucking.
That's what the people are here for, dude.
Catch
They're
Sal
just here for little connections.
Catch Sal and Austin's phone call later tonight on a bonus episode.
I'll tell you what. I'll just fly out to San Diego. I'll meet you at El Indio, and we can grab
to
a
coffee
burrito.
shop. We'll go to my family's restaurant.
There you go.
Right down the street from El Indio on India Street.
Bro, we all know
Ferrell
your
will be
family has a. How much have you guys been getting? Way more clientele with this podcast, or what?
Nah, they're closed, man.
Ron Burgundy hasn't showed up.
No, not yet.
Not even.
He's going to.
Not even takeout right now.
He's going to Charlie Lancer's too much.
All right, so I got one more question, and I texted you this question before because I'm hoping that you have something set up. So you're about to join Ike's interrogation, and he's gonna have 5 questions where he's gonna be able to crush you. So I said, at least I'm going to give you one question to bring him down with you. So please give me Ike Opara's best story that you have from Wake Forest days.
So you texted me this, and I was like, "Oh yes, dude, I get to go at Ike here." And I started thinking about it, and I was like,
Under the radar.
Ike was such a square in college. Like
under the radar.
I literally couldn't think of like a single funny, like appropriate thing to talk
Well,
about.
yeah, no one has appropriate things.
Ike's that guy that like he just kind of like shows up places or like you call him and you tell him what you're doing. And he's always like 10 minutes away from everything. Oh yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
That wasn't
he shows up.
Here's what I'm gonna do. What I did when you texted me that, I texted my Wake bros and I said, "Can anybody think of an Ike Opara story? Because I can't think of one. Can you tell me? Somebody give me something." So I'm just gonna read you the texts that I got back.
Okay.
These are all from separate people, and nobody talked ahead of time. Okay, so the first one I got back. He showed up to summer pickup for the first time in basketball shorts. Second one. He sucked and hated soccer, but became better than me in like one summer.
Thank you. Someone agrees with me. That's what I said about Ike when he signed with Kansas City. I said, this guy sucks.
This was like 10 years before that.
True,
so
but
he must have regressed.
He still kind of sucks in San Jose a little bit.
Better.
Like he was good sometimes, but he kind of sucked too.
So okay, here's the third one along the same lines. He went from being the worst soccer player I've ever seen to one of the better ones in about 3 months.
These guys.
And the last one,
okay.
This one is I like this one. It just said, didn't he get mushed by Ale Bedoya when we played Boston College?
That never happened. Never happened. You know what happened?
Like
There's proof that you got crushed by Mike Grella, though. There's proof that you got crushed by
never
Grella.
happened. Ale Bedoya was hilarious because he was just screaming the most obscene things at his teammates the entire game, and I'm gonna wait to bring because we'll have Ali on for sure. It was degrading.
Dude, you remember what he said when we beat him like 5-2 or whatever?
And he turned around to his coach. He said, because his coach was demanding more from Ali. Ali actually had 2 goals. He said, "Me, I scored 2 goals, but our defense sucks." And I was just like, well, this guy is losing it.
I remember it a little more vulgar than that, but that was the right idea.
We'll let Bedoya tell that story when he comes on if he does.
Hey, I thought you at least because college. I mean, except for you really stood out with your college stories because you had so many. I thought you were gonna go to your wedding when I think I caused some damage to the.
Well, yeah, that's not a Wake story. You wanted Wake stories, so this was like 3 years ago. There's eyewitness accounts of Ike kicking down a bathroom stall door. He literally, like my buddy said, he looked over at him and he said, "I'm strong," and then he just kicked the door down for no reason.
At your wedding?
Yeah.
Come on, Ike.
That was the last time I had alcohol.
And he was going around. He was taking people's ties off of their necks.
$10,000 in damage to a hotel.
Throwing them in the rafters.
I didn't get my tie down either. So many ties got lost. Oh, goodness.
Only shows up for weddings, this guy.
That's all I can do, man. That's all I can do. So, anyways,
well, you got a couple stories off your chest. I'm glad you were able to do that. But anyways, back to the prime steak, the entree, what everybody looks forward to. It's the Ike's interrogation. Your seat's about to get a little warmer there, Austin. So buckle up and good luck. He's all yours, Ike.
It won't get warmer. He was nice to me with those stories. I'm glad he kept him towards soccer. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Which of these 4 Wake Forest alum would you keep out of your Hall of Fame? Brian Carroll, Michael Parkhurst, Sam Cronin, or Corbin Bone?
Oh my God, dude! I got to keep one out.
Got to keep one. Will not make your Wake Forest Hall of Fame.
Jeez, dude.
Is this based on like just what they did at Wake Forest or like
correct.
careers?
Just at Wake Forest.
Just at Wake.
Man.
And these guys were all ballers.
Yeah, that's tough. Man, I gotta go BC because the only reason I'm gonna do that is because he's so humble that he won't care. And and I know that he'll never ever listen to this. So
No, but Hesmer will, and Hesmer will tell him.
he'll text him right away. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna get some texts from the old heads that are like, "Fuck you."
I hope you do. This is about starting drama. I want you to answer every question. I don't care if you plead. All right. You have to rank these coaches that you have either played with, for, or you know very well.
Didn't we already do this?
No, but this is a little bit different. This is from first to worst with your father, Tony DeLuz, former great current Pittsburgh coach Jay Vidovich.
We already know that's going to be one, though.
Current coach Bobby Moose at Wake Forest, and former teammate of ours at Wake. He's now the coach at Denver, Jamie Franks.
Ooh, I actually have heard of Jamie Franks because Andre Shinyashiki loves this man.
Yeah, from first to worst, who we got? Give me who's last.
Jeez, dude.
Give me who's last and give me who's first.
Can't throw your dad under the bus after all he did for you.
I got to put my dad first because he gave me life.
Well, that's your mom, kind of. But
it was a team effort.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pops. I'm gonna go Pops 1, J 2. I'm trying to think who's gonna get mad at me.
That's all I care about. I don't care if you answer.
Oh man, I'm going. All right, I'll go Jamie 3 and Bobby 4. Only because I want to see the text that I get from Bobby when this goes up.
As long as you can tweet.
So Bobby's the current Wake Forest coach?
He is.
Okay.
Great coach. Done an unbelievable job.
But he's
worse.
great
But the
coach,
worst.
but the worst.
The best, but the worst.
Sure.
Sure.
He's going to be so mad that Jamie's ahead of him, too.
Yeah. So also Bobby was the coach at Denver. When he left, Jamie was his assistant. So Jamie became the head coach. So it's another like double slap in the face there.
Then the assistant's better than the head coach, huh?
Yeah. All right.
Question 3.
Question 3. Biggest career accomplishment. This is not a very big list here.
Ain't that the truth, buddy?
2007 national title at Wake Forest, playing for Pride Activism, or captaining NCFC.
You forgot NASL Player of the Week. April of 2015.
I think you got Player of the Week a few times because I remember reading those on Twitter.
Player of the Month, buddy.
There you go.
Yeah, let's see. What were they again?
There weren't even that many. It was like there's 3.
I'll go playing for Pride 1.
Wow, you're going to take over the national title, huh? You're just going to leave your boys out.
Dude, 60 grand, bro.
Yeah, that's true. He affects a wider audience than us 28 morons, to be honest, that were on that team. That's so true.
I'll go 07 national championship second. I'll go NCFC captain third because I was here for like a long time and I was only captain for like a couple seasons. So
yeah.
All
right, switching. Last 2 you're gonna skate through, no problem. Fan question. These last 2 are fan questions, but worst place to play in USL and why? It could be fans, it could be the travel, or all criteria. I mean, whatever you'd like to make it.
Are we? So USL, we're not including NASL.
Sorry. Again, I lumped them all together.
Lower
USL,
league.
NAC, yeah.
Any lower league.
Oh, this is the easiest question that anyone has ever been asked.
I know.
Edmonton, Canada. Edmonton, every single time I went to Edmonton, I decided to retire.
Why? Was it stadium or travel or what?
Bro, look on a map where this is, and it takes 1,000 hours to get there.
It's pretty far north?
Oh my God. We would fly from Raleigh to Minnesota, and from Minnesota to Edmonton. It's so far into Canada, dude. Like, and everyone knows that Canada, the further you get from the border, the worse the place is. And Edmonton is so far from the border. It was turf. It was like There's like 12 people in the stands. It's either freezing or it's like 100 miles per hour wind. There's like rabbits running across the field in the middle of the game. It's no contest, hands down, Edmonton.
Right.
At least there's no cats running around. Mike Petke lose another job.
We didn't tell any Petke stories on this one, huh? We should probably avoid those.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we forgot about Petke with the connection there. I didn't know that. You should have known that.
I should have. I'm trying to avoid. I've got so many to make them plead. If I just go back from 06 to 2010, but I'm gonna stick to being the agreements we had. All right.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, we have to look out for each other as much as you don't invite me to things anymore. But anyways,
Zoom parties.
Yeah, apparently I'm not a wig bro anymore. Anyways, so with the new expansion team, fan question, I had to edit it a little bit. But what area market do you think was better for the expansion, Charlotte or the Raleigh area?
Buddy, come on.
I don't know actually. I've been so far gone that I don't actually know what the landscape is like anymore.
I mean, it's Raleigh. It's Raleigh.
You think so? Why?
I mean, it's just a better city, dude. Charlotte is just, it's like, there's no character. There's nothing, dude. It's like just banks, people who work in banks. It's everywhere.
So we can pretty much say you're not going to get a job with the new Charlotte MLS team.
Well, that's how he's going to get a job, actually. That's how it's worked for a lot of the guys in our previous.
Listen, so the one thing I will say is that so the Charlotte Independents, who we play, that's like our rival or whatever in USL. And I hate them, whatever. They had nothing to do with this Charlotte MLS bid.
I did know that.
It was Tapper, and he cut a check for $325 million. Whatever. Can't compete with that. I hope it works out. I mean, if it's, MLS in North Carolina is great. I would prefer that it was in Raleigh, obviously. But having grown up in Winston-Salem and having to drive 5 hours to watch DC United games, it's like the prospect of having a team in North Carolina, in Charlotte, it's cool, whatever. It's great, but it would have been better if it was Raleigh.
You sound a little bitter, but all good. I mean, I think as long as you market it well, it's going to do well regardless. But yeah, I mean,
listen,
from a preference standpoint,
maybe Raleigh gets one down the line. Are you telling me that the Don is going to stop taking checks?
No, we all know that. We just don't know when it will stop, to be honest. We don't know when it will stop. Maybe put one in Durham. Talk about character.
Dude, great. Play a DBAP. Dude, it'd be awesome.
Benny, can these guys stop talking about North Carolina?
Yeah, I almost
you need not to say North Carolina.
Happening. We've lost some viewership, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You lost some viewership when you had me on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways, Austin's correctly he's pled the fifth.
Yeah, he has not.
Which means he has a question that he can ask one of us three. So go ahead.
All right, I got one for Benny.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right.
All I want is confirmation whether or not this story is true.
Okay.
Okay. So
by the way, I have bad memory on some things that I consider not too important. So we'll see how important this is.
Probably heard this before.
So this is a Zach Shalowski special.
Okay.
So
by the way, I cannot believe that Zach's debut he had a hat trick. I wasn't there for that yet, but
yeah,
I found out about that recently. 2
players in MLS history to score a hat trick in their home debut: Zach Shalowski and Didier Drogba.
Really? That is incredible.
2 legends.
Z-Man. All right, go ahead. What's the question?
All right. So the story allegedly is it's New England in 2011.
Oh, I can already imagine what this story is going to be like, but go ahead. And it's going to be true.
Bad.
For sure it's going to be true.
You guys were very bad, correct?
We were terrible.
So the story is that middle of practice, you guys are playing possession, right?
Yeah.
And you get the ball.
I didn't know what the story is because I know what Zach remembers.
You get the ball. And you just launch the ball out of the possession grid to kick it as hard as you can outside of the grid to nobody.
Yeah.
And Stevie says, "Benny, what the fuck are you doing?" And you yell back at him, Nobody else can pass the fucking ball. Why should I?
That's definitely something he would do. So let's hear Benny's comment.
Again, I'm going to give you the God's honest truth. I cannot remember that happening, but that for sure sounds like me when I get pissed off. So like, and those trainings, oh my God, there were some of the most pitiful trainings. The one thing that actually sounds a little bit fake is that Steve Nickel would give a fuck to say something like that, because he was just, I mean, he was having a good time. He knew it was probably going to be his last year there. He was having a good time. He was playing golf every single day. But our team was bad and trainings were even worse. And yeah, I mean, we sucked. And so I could easily see myself having gotten pissed off. And I think that's a great point, right? If nobody else can keep the ball, let me just boot the ball off the field.
Sure. Double down, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a true story.
Oh, I love it.
All right, well, Austin, thanks a lot for coming on the show, man, and entertaining us with some of your stories and letting us know how how Ike really is.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me on. I assume that like Paul Rudd or Steve Carell weren't available tonight.
No, we told Paul Rudd maybe next week.
Yeah.
We didn't want. Nice. We bumped him for you.
I appreciate that. I needed it. I needed it right now in the midst of this pandemic. I appreciate the ego boost.
Yeah, us too, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, Scotty.
Thanks so much, Austin DeLuce. Great guest. Some funny stories. You got him to open up some Wake Forest skeletons there, Ike.
No. We keep we have a little bit of a family at Wake. No, we are a family at Wake Forest, so we couldn't incriminate the program with the stories that happened.
Yeah, but he crushed their current coach.
Yeah, but we didn't really play for him. So Bobby, sorry, he had to take the bullet in the crossfire there. But hey, the soccer's fine. It's the off the field that was that was next level.
All right. Well, just again to reiterate, we thank everybody for the GoFundMe. You guys did it. We were able to raise what we wanted. Our goal was 10,000. We got to over 10,500. So again, thank you so much for all that. And just to remind everybody, we're starting our own website, or it's already out. It's already live. www.bsithepodcast.com. And like I mentioned in the intro, we're going to have all the videos for the podcast come out on there, so you guys can check it out there. We're going to have an exclusive content membership account where we are going to do some extra podcasts. We're going to have some extra things that, whatever you guys can come up with, we'll do as well. And it's exciting. I think we're excited about that. We're excited about the fan base that we're creating. And I think you guys like the products, so we want to try and give you guys something extra as well. And then merchandise will be on there as well. So check it out. And as always, you can find our podcasts on streaming on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Overcast. And our email is BennySalThePodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at BSI the Podcast, and our hashtags are BSI the Podcast and Ike's Interrogation. So thanks again for everybody that showed up today. We appreciate it. And for the two people that are still listening, we always appreciate those last few listens. So thank you so much.
And congrats to William Kirby for winning the Landon Donovan signed Everton jersey.
It was a close call, man. Yeah, William
you were always destined to get it. So.
All right, we appreciate it again. Thank you so much, and thanks for showing up today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.